Today we're going to take a walk along the South Pier at Blackpool. As you may know, Blackpool has 3 piers: North, Central and South. And the South was the last of the 3 to be built. It was built during the mid 1890s, I believe. So here you can see one of the attractions outside the pier entrance, a Blackpool tram. When I was a kid, Blackpool was the only town in the UK with trams, and it was seen as rather anachronistic. How times have changed, eh? So here's the front view of the main entrance, and we're about to go inside through the entrance in the middle, which leads to an amusement arcade. As usual, there's a big selection of machines, brightly coloured and flashing machines to play if you wish. And there is a one-way system in operation, so you can only enter the amusement arcade from the front entrance, and the back entrance is purely an exit. Like all the piers, they have a one-way system in operation so that people entering and leaving don't mingle. Although once on the pier, there's no isolation at all. So we're out in the daylight. It was a lovely sunny day, as we've had several of those in the last couple of weeks. And this was filmed on a weekday rather than a weekend, so that may explain why the numbers of people on the pier are quite low, and also why so many of the amusements are shut. I was quite surprised at that. I was expecting more people, and I was also expecting more of the stalls to be open. So in the distance you can see Blackpool Tower and the Central Pier, and what you may also be able to see if you've watched any of my other videos is that the South Pier is a long way from the Central Pier, whereas the Central Pier and the North Pier are quite close together. The tide was in and people decided it'd be nice to get their feet wet, cool down a little bit perhaps. So continuing our journey, there are lots of stalls selling stuffed animals, stuffed toys, and also stalls where you games of skill, as it were, to win stuffed animals. In the distance you may just be able to make out the big one on the Pleasure Beach, which at one time was Europe's highest roller coaster. I don't think it has that title anymore. And there's a climbing frame you can see to the left here, which is a series of layers with webbing in them for children to climb up and down. Hopefully the webbing stops them from plummeting to a not very good end. There are a lot of rides on the Central Pier, and there are also a lot of rides here on the South Pier. And they vary from nice, tranquil ones for children, such as this one that you can see, and there are also 2 which you wouldn't get me on in a million years, and I'll describe both of those when we get to them. So this is the first of the two, called the Sky Coaster, and essentially you're strapped into a harness and then swung across the pier. It wasn't working today, but when it is working, it's absolutely terrifying. And there are, of course, more traditional seaside rides, such as the carousel you can see on the right here. The waltzer you can see in front of us is an old favourite. There used to be one on the central pier, but unfortunately that's burned down in an accident a few weeks ago. And this is the second ride that you wouldn't get me on, the Sky Screamer. Essentially you're strapped into a exoskeleton and then catapulted 200 feet into the air. No, thank you. And there's the device, the torture device that you're strapped into before ejecting all your coins and glasses, mobile phones, keys, etc. as you spin. And much more my kind of thing are the dodgems. I loved those as a kid, and the one thing you could be absolutely certain of is that no one would go around the course in the direction indicated by the arrows. If you're going to have a dodgem ride, then you're going to hit people.
Guys, stop.
As I say, the pier was built in the 1890s and was considered to be the most upmarket of the three. It was the third of the three to be built. And there was a definite pecking order in terms of what sort of clientele the various piers were aiming at, with the South Pier at the highest, the North at the middle, and then the Central Pier at the lowest. These days there are no admission charges to get on, so I don't think there are very many differences between the three, other than the fact that the North Pier doesn't have many of the amusements and rides that the other two have. It was a very warm day, and I think stay cool and eat an ice cream was very good advice. And as ever, there's somewhere where you can take amusing photographs of people poking their heads through the sign. Saw some social media videos earlier, and everywhere in Blackpool seemed to be a lot busier at the weekends. I mean, very busy, probably as busy or if not busier than a normal season. But at the moment it's so quiet, you have to wonder what business the stall holders are doing at the moment. Not very politically correct these days, a shooting gallery. So this is an example of the one-way system that was in place. You could only exit from this side of the promenade. The other side and the amusement arcade were for entry only. And that more or less concludes our journey up and down the South Pier at Blackpool. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, then please consider subscribing, and I do have other videos available of the other two piers in Blackpool, and if you wish, please watch them. Thank you for watching.